Welcome to the One More Rep podcast, where we take it beyond the barbell. I'm your host, Mo Dingo, and with me, with a can of O2, is Brody. What's up, bro?
Yep, I got my O2. Trying to recover here, Mo. I'm down there dying. Mo's up here sleeping.
Yeah, I was up in the loft editing some podcasts, and apparently Brody was yelling at me because he was dying on the floor. Now, what is it you did again?
Well, it started out with I worked up to my 90% clean. It hit double, and then went in. I was going to do a quick workout, so it's 21:15:9, cow bike, hang power cleans at 165 GHD. And I walked back to my bar, and like, all right, that's not enough. So I went back up to the whiteboard, went 21:15:963. And I got back to my barbell, I was getting ready to start, and I'm like, stop being a bitch. This is not what you would program for everybody else. So I went back up and I went 21:15:963:21. And I knew putting that 21 in, that was it, man. It was that
was the coffin. That was
you know how
the
it
coffin.
is. Like you're like 963 is nothing, and then you crank it through the last quick reps on the bike, and then what's coming, that 21. And it's like at the end of the workout, it's your 75th calorie. You're like, but it's just, I think that sometimes we can find the easy way out.
Yeah.
And I could have done 21:15:9, no one would have known.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done 21:15:963, no one would have known. Mm-hmm. And then, but I would have. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it's about is I knew the 21, adding that on the end was going to make it a little bit more spicy.
Yeah.
Because honestly, after the threes, I'd have been 963 is nothing on that. But the 70, finish out your 75th rep on the GHDs, the hang power cleans, and definitely the bike spiced it up.
Puts a little extra on the end.
Yeah, but I was yelling for Mo up here. I was like, Mo! And he wasn't responding.
Here I am up here, just click.
I was hoping he'd come down and be like, hey, bro, I got to get going if you want to start recording. I'd be like, oh, you're right. I'll just sacrifice, these 21s, no problem. And blame it on Mo.
Sorry, my bad.
But I got it done.
I was diligently editing our shows.
One job.
Yeah, one job. That's all I got. Thank you for all the likes and those subscriptions that we asked for. Really appreciate that stuff. Also, the comments. We really dig those. I don't think you guys truly understand like how much time we spend talking about the feedback that you guys give us to try and create more shows for you.
Yeah, I think we were talking earlier today. Mo's been here all day. And I think we were talking, the direction of this podcast went from what Mo was thinking to the polar opposite. Not in a bad way, but just in the thoughts of, he was thinking once a month.
Yeah.
And, and then we started talking back and forth, and it's sort of taken its own life of its own. Mm-hmm. And
really, to be honest with you guys, the only thing we really had planned is doing those 10 episodes at launch. Mm-hmm. And then almost immediately after that, you guys are what has driven the direction that we're going.
Right, because we've only tapped into a couple topics that we have listed. Listed, and we had 6 months worth. And but some of the stuff that they brought up is stuff that we kind of had in there, just a little bit different. But I think that's cool because I think it keeps Mo and I both inspired. We know that the feedback that we're getting from you guys is because you are listening and you're kind of taking hold of what the podcast and what podcasts can actually be.
Yeah, you guys are taking ownership of it.
Right. And I think what's unique about ours over others is if you listen to any other podcast, they're not going to let you dictate the topics. I'm serious. Like,
I guess you're right. Yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, okay, I'll just do what they said. But maybe it's because they have 100,000 followers.
Well, that too. Yeah.
But still, I don't care if we had 100,000
followers.
I would still listen.
Yeah.
And so would you, because I think that's what kind of has made us get a little bit of traction, not only in our local community, but abroad, except for Michigan. And maybe Michigan ain't listening because I keep dogging them, but
maybe.
No, but I think that's what's cool is they kind of they've taken ownership of and being proud of the podcast, and I can't wait till we get to release our shirts.
Yes.
It's gonna be sick.
Sweet. I didn't even know about the shirts.
Yeah, we're doing them sometime.
Sweet. So today's topic, after Bro got done with that horrible workout, we were just sort of sitting, just chit-chatting about the things you guys have told us and some of the subtext of the comments that we've heard. And Bro threw this idea at me. I think, how did it start? You asked me what my Fran was.
Well, no, it started with, I told Mo I had a call to action that I wanted to bring up. And
we'll do that at the end here.
And usually Mo will do the call to action at the very end, subscribe, like, comment, and we'll give you maybe something to try or whatever. And I came up and I said, I have a call to action I'd like to put in today. He asked what it was, and I'm like, I just won't say anything until the end so you can kind of run with it. And he starts laughing because he thinks it's probably going to be messed up, but it really wasn't. It was something that I think too often, and that's where this topic kind of, and that's why I brought it up to Mo. I said, maybe we can make this a topic. Too often we get attached to what our times are for workouts or what our score is for workouts, and we instantly put ourselves down because we felt we could have done better, right? So if we have a task on the whiteboard and then we achieve it and we have a clock, first thing we do when we finish, we look at the damn clock, right? We want to know our time, right? So instantly we're like, man, I could have done that faster, right? So your satisfaction that you should be getting out of accomplishing something that you just completed is gone. And I think like today's workout, I didn't use the clock. I didn't care. I had a task. I didn't care about my clock. I didn't care about anything. And I put something on the whiteboard. I need to get my endurance back up, okay, because I'm not in the best shape. I have a lot of competition coming up. So I wanted to work on my core. So I took two things that, I wanted to work on, GHDs and bike. And then I already had my bar out for clean. So I threw the cleans in the middle. And then I did the workout. I accomplished things, 75 reps of each. I accomplished 3 things I really wanted to do, 2 things I really need to work on. And even though how it sucked, it's something I felt good about because I accomplished it. I didn't have a time. I didn't have a score. I finished. And I feel good about that because it doesn't matter what my time was. It just doesn't. Absolutely.
And so this episode is going to be titled, It's All About You.
Right. It is all about you.
So when Bro came up with that question about the call to action, it was odd because I immediately did what he expected that a normal athlete would do.
Yeah, I said, Mo, okay, what's your Fran time?
And the first thing I said is, well, I do Fran with 75 pounds because.
And there you go.
And I was already making qualified statements.
Right, and that's so stupid, right? Because I was being sincere as in, okay, what is your Fran time, right? I was going to use it as a platform to start talking about this topic. And the first thing he does, well, I only do it at 75 pounds. Well, what do you mean you only do it at 75 pounds? That's the problem is if he had said 4 minutes, which is what his time is, I'm like, oh, cool. He said at 75 pounds. That's perfectly fine. I truly believe that if you do Fran under 5 minutes, no matter your load, you're going to get the stimulus of the workout. If we start creeping to that 8 to 10 minutes, you lose that stimulus of what Fran should feel like. So it doesn't matter on your load. It doesn't matter on anything. If you get that under 5, like I know what that feels like, And Jenna has it like a 2-minute Fran, and she looks like I look like, and I don't have a 2-minute Fran.
Yeah, a pile at the end of it. Yeah.
And that's just and as soon as he did that, I'm like, there you go. That's what everybody does. And I jokingly, it's so stupid. It's like, you start talking to someone that does a CrossFit and they're like, what's your Fran time? I'm like, what's your bench?
Yeah.
Like, it's so stupid. What's your bench, bro?
And I think back in the day, that was kind of like a normal kind of behavioral trait is you meet someone, oh, you do CrossFit? Oh, what's your Fran? What's your Murph?
Like, stop puffing your chest up, dude.
It's like being back in high school and say, oh, what do you bench?
What's your back squat? Shut up. But it's like, it's dumb. Like, why? I hate that. I hate when people start asking, and I'll tell them my times, but I think it's dumb because it doesn't matter what my time is. I completed the task and it sucked and I gave it my all. So no matter the workout that I do, it doesn't matter what my time is. You know, there's certain times you may fall off, maybe out of shape, or maybe you're injured and you had to modify certain things. It takes a little bit longer. But if I am fully healthy and I attack a workout to my fullest, it doesn't matter my time because it sucked.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter Mo's Karen and my Karen time, because if we go as hard as we can, it sucks. And that's what the topic should be, is like the relationship in CrossFit to me is, yeah, we all can share and relate certain things because we all do a lot of the same workouts or same type of movements. And we know what kind of couplets suck, deadlifts and box jumps. We know that sucks, right? And we can kind of talk about, it doesn't matter the rep scheme. It doesn't matter the load. It doesn't matter anything. It's that combination sucks no matter what. And it doesn't matter how fast you go. It doesn't matter. It sucks. And we can have that common ground. But when you start, it's just like this newer trend that I'm seeing is like, what's your times? Like, doesn't matter. Like, I finished it. You finished it. It's cool. Let's talk about beer or something.
So why do you think we as a collective kind of get fixated on this stuff? I mean, does it go back to like I just said in the gym in high school, what's your bench, you know, or what's your 40 time when I was in football, or how many times can you bench 225? You know, again, going back to the football analogy, you know, what's your fastball? What's your changeup? You know, I think maybe is it something that we have grown up with that need to compare and compete in a certain way?
I think I look at more of like some people's trying to, or most of the time they're trying to set their precedence as an athlete. Like, I don't care. Like, just because you would bench more than me or your friend's faster than me doesn't mean you're better than me. And it's like that instant, like, I don't know, trying to
size people up,
dominance of the conversation. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll beat your ass. Like, I don't care what your Fran time is, dude. I'm gonna shoot in. I'm gonna pick you up and I'm gonna slam your head into the ground. So I don't care what you bench because it doesn't matter. Your head bounces off the floor just as easy as if you bench 400 pounds. If you bench 25 pounds, like, it doesn't matter. So I think it's sort of this like, you know, it's just stupid, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know. Maybe some people use it as a topic starter, but I hate hearing it, and I hate seeing some of our athletes get messages, especially during the open, like, what'd you score? Like, doesn't matter. Like, what does it matter? Why you haven't messaged me all year? Now you want to know? Now you care about me? Yeah. No, you don't. This is stupid, and I don't know where it came from. I would like for it to end. It probably won't, but it is what it is.
But I think it extends outside the gym. You know, like, how big is your house? How fast is your car?
You're right, man. Maybe it's us as people, I guess. And we take that into CrossFit, and then it transfers to. And
then even like when you take, well, I'm a size this, or, you know, or I have this brand of shoe, or, you know, my iPad, you know, has this much data storage in it.
Right. You have a 64 gig? What? Come on. Like, I don't care. It works. Like, I get done what I need to get done. Okay, you can store more pictures and videos. Like, does it matter?
That's just more stuff you have on there. Yeah.
Your capacity is better than mine. What do you want? Like, I don't care. Like, or if I'm coaching you as an athlete, then we can start really getting to where we need to. Times kind of matter because we have to get improvements and things like that. I have to have data and comparisons. So, and that's a personal conversation. That's not something.
Absolutely, you don't do that at the whiteboard.
No, and I don't. And honestly, I don't talk to my athletes typically out in the open in front of other members because, believe it or not, they're very insecure about where they're at and their times and where their fitness level is. Because, you know, honestly, your higher end athletes are probably a little bit more insecure than someone who isn't as elite as they are in fitness. So,
and then, like we mentioned before, when you get to that level of fitness, your gains are so much smaller than, you know, those beginner gains, those gains you get in the first 3 years.
Right. Or sometimes you got to take a step back. You know, you get when you're in CrossFit for a while, and if you're on the competitive side of it, and you want to make something, you know, more out of CrossFit than the general physical stuff, you know, your volume goes up, your training goes up, and then the chance to become injured goes up
as well.
Because any sport, high end, the more you train, the more vulnerable you are to injury, and it doesn't matter how much precaution you take for mobility, stretching, whatever. You just catch something wrong sometimes, and it's not, CrossFit gets knacked. Oh, you guys train too much. No, we train. If your coach is proper and does things proper, you train within whatever your athlete's able to do, because you know them. You should know them inside and out. What is going to put them over the edge and hurt them physically, like tear something, to whereas it's going to just hurt their lungs and maybe their pride a little bit.
But something that we can both connect with is when I look at comparison to other sports like baseball. Like you see these kids that are 14, 15 years old that are playing baseball like 9, if not 12 months out of the year now. Right. Especially when it comes to pitchers. I mean, I hear stories of like 16-year-olds having Tommy John surgery. I mean, how much that's a lot of volume, to put that kind of stress on a growing body.
I think volume is okay. I think there's a huge, if you do it improper and you don't listen and listen, first off, your athlete isn't open to you with how their body actually feels. If they're trying to hide something because they want to work, that's the first hang up that you can get. The second is if your coach isn't really in tune with that athlete and can't detect it, how they're moving, because when you get connected to athletes, you notice how they walk, their cadence, they're kind of grimacing, their warm ups is a little off. The first part of the workout, it's crushing them when they usually crush it. So that means their bodies are kind of beat down. And then that's when the questions should start coming.
But then there's always that telltale indication when they're like hunched over and they sort of look at you out of the corner of their eye.
You're please come over here.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Wait a minute.
What's going on?
What was that look?
Yeah. And I think volume's okay. I think you need to, if you want to get better at something, what do you have to do? You have to do
a lot of it.
What do they say? To perfect something, it takes 10,000 hours of doing it. So, I mean, that's a lot of CrossFit. If you want to be, I don't think you can ever perfect CrossFit because it's constantly varied. But as an athlete, you can start perfecting, especially as a pitcher. You got to get those innings in. But at the same time, there's a lot more rules now.
Yeah, with the pitch counts.
With the pitch counts, and they're starting it younger, which is cool.
It's good. Yeah.
I think if you get Tommy John at 16, then your coach has really dropped the ball.
On your mechanics.
On the mechanics, overuse, whatever it may be. And I think that's more dangerous than anything, is having a bad coach that will run you into the ground with zero care about your well-being just to make it to a point. You can go to regionals if you want, but if you can't function at regionals, what's
the point?
Okay, I'm going to regionals, but my biceps torn.
Yeah.
Well, you ain't going to regionals.
No, not at all.
But you qualified.
Yeah.
Whatever.
One of the things you also kind of mentioned when we were talking and having this conversation is you asked that athlete, oh, I did this, but so-and-so did it 2 minutes faster than me. Yeah,
the comparison.
The comparison issue.
Instantly takes away the credit for what they just accomplished. It's just stupid. I like times. It's accountability type thing. And people like to see progression. I need it as a measurable for programming. I need to see as a gym where we are falling off. If I only have one group that finishes it here and then a majority finishes it way below that time, I know I've kind of missed something in programming, so to pick everybody up, because we don't just cater to our top, 5% of the scores. I want everybody's scores to continue to go up. Now you're going to have your clusters, right? People are going to have your separations on the whiteboard because of fitness level, mobility, whatever it may be. But if you modify right and appropriately, people who modify their time should be getting closer to the top RX scores. Should be pretty relatively close. So, yeah, they look at this and instantly are like, well, you did great today as a coach. You did great today. You killed it. I don't know. They beat me by 3 minutes. You just, what more could you have done? Yeah. You literally finished the last rep, and then you got sniped. It
just collapsed.
Your legs went out from underneath you, and you were laying there for 5 minutes wondering why the hell you do CrossFit. Yeah. And then you get up, and then this is the first words out of your mouth. I give you a congratulations because I watched you give it your all, and now all of a sudden you're caring because someone beat you by 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Be happy for what you accomplished. And I think that's where Mo's Fran thing came from is if he did it in 4 minutes, I know that his 4 minutes was a proper time and that was his all. So instead of trying to say, 75 pounds, he should be like, yeah, it's it's 4 minutes at 75 pounds, and then he can go off that. Because I told him, I said, if he did Fran once a week for 5 weeks at 75 pounds, and then he retested, he said he hadn't done RX Fran in a while. If he tested his prescribed Fran, it would automatically not I would shoot almost 2 minutes off of his time, if not more, because Mo trained at the proper intensity, and then that built up his capacity. And then when he attacks it with 20 more pounds, yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer than the 75, but his capacities went up, so that means his prescribed Fran will go down.
And we talked about getting tied up with times with these benchmarks. When there are times when, like you just mentioned, it is important to have those times. Like, if it's a max effort, yeah, I don't want you to do max effort assault bike and take 5 minutes to get 12 calories. That's not a max effort.
No, definitely not max effort. I mean, unless you're 2 foot tall and you're on stilts. But right, I think there's times to have numbers, and then there's times that just. I'm not saying you have to train that way all the time. I was telling Mo, we've done it a couple times in here in class. It's been a while since we have, and where I've taken a workout, and to shake it up, I have put the WOD up, and then there's no time. It's complete, and then everybody gets a check mark. I have a time cap, but they don't know the time cap. So everybody's name is a check mark beside it. There's no time. And that is, it doesn't matter because they don't know what time that person finished. They
just know they finished the task.
It doesn't matter, right? I think it's a cool way to train. You mix it up. So the call to action, what I was going to do was I was going to tell people to, make a workout up on the whiteboard, do it on the weekend, put something they are really good at, put something they really suck at, and then put something right in the middle of it. Set a rep scheme that is going to challenge you mentally and physically, and then don't use a timer and just complete it. And you're going to feel great about yourself because you're going to work on something that you really need to work on, if you're honest with yourself. You're going to do something you really enjoy, and you're going to sandwich it with something in the middle that maybe you're okay at, and then you'll be okay. I mean, it'll be fun.
And it's a good test, and that's also an opportunity for you to be honest with yourself about your fitness and your abilities. Sometimes looking in that mirror and be like, okay, Mo, you really suck at bar muscle ups. Now's the time to push that shit.
Right. You're right. And I think that's, if we go back to the beginning of the thing, when we were talking about the workout I did, I knew that if I didn't put that 21 on the end and I completed the 963, I would have regretted it as a person because I knew I needed to challenge myself.
You got to throw yourself under the bus sometimes.
Yeah, and it is being honest with yourself because I could have taken the easy way out. I was by myself, working out by myself. No one else did this workout. I just tried to fit one in, and I could have done it. But like Mo said, you have to look in the mirror and be like, all right, I know that I really don't want to put this 21 on the end, but I know that mentally going back into that bike for the 21 after all that and hitting the 21 cleans again will mentally kind of get to me and physically hurt a lot more.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awful.
It doesn't matter the workout, right?
It could have been 21 jumping jacks at the very end.
Yeah, it's just the point of, like most of them, challenge yourself and be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror and put something in there you really suck at, and that's the only way you get better at it. You don't get better at something by not doing it. Yeah.
It's not important to compare your accomplishments to someone else because they're not you.
Right.
You might not have the capacity. Like, I'm not going to compare myself to a games level athlete. It's just, in your words, that's stupid.
It is stupid.
Because I don't have the capacity. I don't have the genetic makeup. I don't have the ability to train at their level. And it's just not a reasonable measure of my fitness. Now, can I look back at my old data and compare myself? Probably, depending on how old the numbers are.
And I think it's something we probably don't do enough. I think a big thing in CrossFit, we always forget where we came from. And it's, what'd you snatch today? Whatever. That's awesome. Not really. It's only a 5-pound PR. Bro, I remember 6 months ago, you could barely do, 45 pounds because of shoulder mobility, flexibility, and, mobility. And they forget that because now they're snatching, say, 75 pounds and everybody else is hitting triple digit snatches in here. Well, dude, that's a big deal because your technique got better. Your overhead positioning got better. You're catching the bar better. And now we build off that. And they forget what it was just 6 months ago. They could barely do a barbell.
And there's few regrets I have within CrossFit, but one of the things I do regret is not writing down my numbers when I first started, because no one ever explained to me the importance of that. It wasn't part of the culture I was in. But looking back on it now, to have had that data and be able to see where I've come. I mean, I have an idea, but there is some satisfaction, some intrinsic fulfillment when you look back at where you came from. You're like, man, I'm literally back squatting twice as much as when I first started. Those things help emotionally and help you refocus sometimes when you're in those ruts and you're looking, you're like, oh, well, I'm not able to do X, Y, and Z. Well, look at where you came from.
It basically, it's telling you to shut the hell up and stop being a little bitch. It is. I think that's what we need that. We need to be held in check. And I'll talk from a competitive standpoint. So when I'm out of shape and people are like, oh, you're not out of shape. Like, I'm out of shape compared to what I'm used to being in, right? So yes, I can still do things and I can still work out and I can still do okay. You can take that on the competitive side. That's very hard because, you see your crew killing it that, we do coming around Sundays, whatever. And you've definitely lost a step because they're walking around after the workout and like, I'm looking for I can't even get comfortable. And so
just writhing in pain, rolling around on the ground.
And I'm like, man, I'm that bad. And I think that's really hard as a competitor. It's very hard to let that go because I'm not one that we're like, I'll go off a 5-year-old PR. You know what I mean? Someone would be like, so we'll be talking.
I PR by snatch by 500%.
Right. Well, I'm saying like, if you ask someone and you're talking about, and they said the Fran time is like 2 minutes. And I'm like, when's the last time you checked that? Cause I just watch you work out and, oh, that was 5 years ago. That's not your Fran time. Maybe it was your best. So I think we're pretty good in here where we make sure we get current maxes because maybe you went through, like Jenna went through a hip. She didn't squat for, several months. And now we changed a couple things to get her a squat stance a little bit differently to become less quad low, to get hams and the glutes more involved because she's underdeveloped in that area, which is why her quads are like 5,000 inches wide. And
we love you, Jenna.
But I think that sometimes you have to take that step back, and we need a current max. And her current max is not even close to what her old max was, but her current max will crush what her old max was because she hit her limit to where it was an injury.
Kind of like a retraining, a redevelopment of the new version of her.
And you got to sometimes take that pill and swallow that pride a little bit, as much as it hurts, because now everybody's you're not the big fish in that area anymore. And not that she cared or people should care, but it still kind of stabs you right in the gut. And you're like, dang, they're pretty close to me, and it's just they're only they just started like a year ago.
Yeah, and that goes back to our training through injury episode where I talked about when I tore my MCL, and it was emotionally challenging that my numbers were not nearly the same, like with all my squatting motions. And it took me about a good year to get back to a point where I felt comfortable. I mean, there's still times today that I still feel pain, and this was 3 years ago, but getting past that and swallowing my pride,
right,
and being humble about where I was in my training again, it took me, I had to look in the mirror and tell myself to just shut the hell up.
And that's what I've had to do recently is for me to be out of shape and know that I'm not where I want to be. When I go through I give myself usually, when I get really kind of bogged down, I'll give myself one day to feel bad about whatever it is. And then I'm just like, okay, that's it. That's enough. Or a couple hours. It's my little pity party, but that's just me. That's me time. I don't let anybody else in that. And
is that when you go through a gallon of Haagen-Dazs?
Bro, right?
A gallon is a serving.
Right, it is a serving. And I think once I get through that, then I had to be real to myself, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I got to back off what I used to do as far as the capacity of in my capacity in a workout. So if we're supposed to do X amount of calories on a bike per round, I know that I can't hold on to that and keep my integrity of the workout up. So I know I may have to trim it back and modify it. That's okay. And once you get past that, and then you take that step back and start, training at your current fitness level and your current capacity, then your capacity will continue to go up. And it's taken me a long time. I've been in a horrible rut, just probably the last, I don't know how many months, and it's been tough. And so it's been cool getting back into it. So
getting back to that old version of you.
Yeah.
So why is this important to remember that it's about that guy or girl in the mirror and not about what's on the whiteboard? Why does that matter?
It goes to the topic. It's all about you. Who are you doing this for? Are you doing this to police someone else when they ask you what your Fran time is? I'm serious. Like, am I really training to get really good at Fran? So when someone asks me, I can have a really sweet answer. Because they're like, oh, I don't want to say 10 minutes. It's just dumb. And I say stupid a lot because a lot of things that we do is really stupid. I mean, it's our minds are way away from what it should be, and that is we're bettering ourselves every day. We're getting fitter every day that we step in here. We're not at home. We're not obese. We're trying to fight and get off. Some people are trying to fight and get off blood pressure meds. Yeah. They're trying to get, trying to fight the beginning stages of diabetes. They're trying to take these things that are irreversible and reverse them before they become irreversible. Yeah. And we take that away from ourselves, and it is all about you. I train for me, and I do competitions because it keeps me motivated and it gives me something to train for, and it allows me to continue to test the programming I want to bring to the table, because I have to feel what it's like. And if I'm super out of shape, I may get a false read on it. Okay. And I've been in there. I've been there where I don't think I'm in good enough shape, and then I'll have someone that I know can handle it, do it. That way I can get a true reading. But I do it for me. Honestly, and Mo should do it for him. He's not doing this to please anybody else. And it doesn't matter what people think of me. Honestly, we just talked about the body image and the body shaming and all that crap that goes with it. Like, you're in the gym busting your butt for you. You're not doing it so everybody, and you shouldn't. I can't say you ain't. Yeah. You shouldn't be doing it to please anybody else but yourself.
And when you talk about people getting in the gym and they're working hard, one of the things I often tell my athletes was when I see them get into that, when they're starting to hit the wall and you kind of can see like they want to give up, I usually, if they're on the ground, like I'll kneel down by them. I'm like, getting your ass here to the gym was the hardest part. Just finish the workout.
You gotta give them that crumb, man. Yeah. Sometimes we're clinging on by one fingertip, and we're like, we got half of our bodies in the depths of hell, and we got one fingertip hanging onto earth. And sometimes your trainers will come by and give you that little pull on that finger, and get you back up to reality. And that is that we're here to better ourselves. We're here to become more fit, and that our numbers are cool. And I think that PRing is awesome. And I think that when we do well and we feel better by ourselves when we progress. But if you get to the grassroots of the reality of it, we're here to make ourselves better every day. That's all it should matter. It doesn't matter your Fran time, because my Fran time still hurts. We can talk about how much Fran sucks, and we can talk about how much Murph sucks, and we can talk about this and that. That's the relation. And scrap the times. Use that for training purposes, as in taking things to the next level. Times are cool, but if you want to get really detailed into it, there's certain times, like we said, you have to have times. We have to have measurables on a daily basis, because I need to know if your fitness is falling off, because we're training for something. So that's totally different than what we should do in here every day.
Yeah. So bringing this episode to a close, Brody, our call to action this week?
We guys already know it. Design a workout. Make it three elements. One thing you're really good at, one thing, and that you enjoy. One thing that you really suck at and don't enjoy, right? And then just put something in the middle that kind of offsets the two. And set a rep scheme or an AMRAP or a time, whatever it is. No, you can't do an AMRAP. So you're gonna set these elements up, pick a rep scheme, and just do it.
Just finish it.
And just finish it, and that's it. Give it your all. Okay. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Have someone do it with you. It doesn't matter if they beat you or not. You don't know their time. Mm-hmm. Okay. Or do it by yourself. You're going to get more satisfaction out of that. I promise you, especially if you do it by yourself, that you'll feel pretty good about your
end result.
I did this and I attacked something that I'm really weak at, and I got to enjoy the aspect of the things I really enjoy to do in it.
Celebrate the things you're good at and embrace the things you're not so good at.
Right. I mean, shit.
All right, that brings this week's episode to a close. Again, please hit that subscribe button. Keep sending us those comments and those DMs. We love to read all that stuff, and we do read all of them.
Yep.
And
share them with each other.
And we share them with each other. We don't share it outside the family because we take that as personal. We really take pride in a lot of that. So brings this week's episode to a close.
Send us what you did.
Oh yeah, send us what you did.
Yeah, send us the workout what you did.
Maybe. Ooh, I don't know if I want to try what they.
Yeah, let's do it.
Damn it,
me and Mo will.
Okay, yeah. So send us what you did. We'll put them in a hat,
and we'll draw one.
We'll draw one.
Don't make some weird shit up. Like, don't be like you did.
Don't tell us to go to Fat Bob.
Yeah.
and push it down the parking lot.
Don't tell us you did triple Murph, okay? Because I'm not going to believe you. And if you did it, then I mean, we might draw it, and we be like, we didn't draw it. Like, no, we'll do it, and we'll do a live video of it.
Yeah,
and then
I don't want to do live. I want to do the time lapse.
I mean, we'll do a live video when we draw the workout out, and we'll say whose it is.
Yeah, and then we'll come in here and
me and Mo will hammer it out, and then. But don't make some weird stuff. I'm telling you, I'll know if you made some stuff up if you did it or not. Don't send me no like games triple three.
Yeah, so Team Mayhem, don't be coming up with no crazy stuff
over
there from Germany. No, it's Mayhem.
Oh, that's right.
It's a ham that you eat in May.
You got bitch slapped.
Yes, I did. All right, we're out of here, guys.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the One More Rep podcast. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at One More Rep Podcast, or on Twitter at Can I Get One More, or shoot us an email at canigetonmore@gmail.com.
Sounds so magical with the birds chirping in the background.
I didn't hear the damn birds when I was on that last 21 calories. Huh?
Yeah, well, the call to action, we do it at the end. We're going to do it right now?
No, that's how I got... You got me messed up, man. So Mo always has a... What are you talking about?
No, when you asked me the question, I started making qualified statements.
Yeah. All right.
Go. Welcome to the One More Rep podcast, where you take it beyond the barrel. Yeah.
He's not even been drinking.
No, just O2.